the second week in review of the new year. I wanted to talk a little bit this week about ETFs and ETNs. Last year, I really used UWTI and DWTI to make massive growth in my 401k. I really like them for my 401k because I can put in a bracket stop where basically I put a trailing stop to the downside, and that way I'm going to always protect the capital. This year alone, I have made about 35% growth in my 401k, and that was just on basically 2 trades, one with UGAZ and one with DGAZ. I saw that natural gas, which went up to an all-time high about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and I went ahead and I thought, okay, well, this is going to correct itself because it's just an all-time high, and went ahead and traded the DGAZ, the downward momentum ETF, and overnight made 29% on my capital. It was my first time trading that ETF, so I didn't realize that it would pretty much continue for the next 5 days, as they tend to trend from what I'm seeing on a weekly basis until the next release of numbers. So this week we had UGAZ, which went up, and that's what I traded again and took a nice little profit on that one as well. And the natural gas numbers come out on Thursday at 10:30 Eastern time. Now, when I was trading DWTI and UWTI, the oil numbers do tend to come out on Wednesdays, and you'll actually see a big spike or drop in the market based on oil numbers when they first come out, and you can see that it's a dramatic overreaction. Just like I trade reversals, the RSI, it goes to an extreme and it'll bounce back. So you can easily day trade an ETF in that way for a quick momentum change. You can see that it's going to spike up and then people sell off a little bit from that spike, just because it tends to be a pretty dramatic move on those numbers, and then it will tend to uptrend in the general direction of the original spike from what I see. Now, of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is just all my opinion and what I've seen in studying the market and studying ETFs and how they react. As far as going forward, I'm getting close to my delivery date of our second daughter now, 3 weeks away, and everything is just sort of culminating all together, working on the book. Have 9 more chapters that I want to get edited and off to editing so that I can go ahead and rest a little bit when she's here and just worry about taking care of her. But looking forward into this week in review, I do use Trade Ideas a lot for scanning and alerting and scanning stocks after hours. They do have a special promo going on this week with Martin Luther King holiday, which will be posted down below. And also, they're going to have an open house the first week of February, which I will be posting all that information about how you can get in there too, to see their pro program where you can get full access to everything for a week. As far as the stocks going forward, the biggest gainer on Friday was GLBS, which was Global Maritime, and their high of the day was 724. And in the beginning of the day, it spiked up $1.86 off of like 190,000 volume, which is nothing because there's only 3.66 million in the float. And on Friday, so I got my little cheat sheet down here. On Friday, it went up to 724. Then the SEC halted it pending news. Well, the news came out that they're not going to be issuing out the additional 5 million shares. So in some senses, it's a positive because they're not going forward with this dilution of stock, which means that it's not going to drop the value of the stock, which was supposed to close on Friday. So that is a positive. However, they're not having that private investment come in. So there's a positive and negative to it. It does have, when I was looking at shortsqueeze.com, 65% of the volume on Friday, which was 2.5 million, was shorted. Now, how many of those covered after hours? I'm not sure. There was about 225,000 in activity after hours, but if you're looking at 65% of 2.5 million, okay, so 1.25 is 50, so you add another 15% to that, so you're looking at like maybe 1.7 million shares that were shorted on Friday. And if 190,000 drove it up $1.60, there's a chance that this one could really squeeze on Monday. So I will be watching GLBS. It could go the other direction too, but because it's such a low float, it does have dramatic movements in one way or the other. But if these shorts start to get scared and there starts to be upward momentum, it could really squeeze and it could go up to crazy numbers again, like 26. For sure, it would be halted with the SEC along the way, but it could have that momentum to the upside because the shorts start to get freaked out because the valuation and the dilution of the stocks is not happening like they were anticipating. So we'll just have to see what happens on Monday. As I always say, the market's going to dictate the price. Another one that was running up on Friday is SN, which had a high of 1163, so above that price target. I would look for that. DXCM as well is a higher price one, healthcare one. It did have a $10 range on Friday, so it could continue up, which I believe it would continue up for the next couple days, and then come to the downside. But if it goes above 88, I look for it to go bullish. Below 78.5, I would look bearish on it. AKAO is running up again, hitting a new high of 18.26, so above that I would think would be bullish. And CAI above 1359. For shorts and further breakdowns for the week, I was looking at the oversolds of URRE, which had a public offering and hit a new low after spiking up for about 3 days straight. It did drop down to 2.08, so below that. RYI below 1115. It looks like you would have support around 9 and 8, so it does have about $2 to drop if it does continue. ZGNX, it is at 1015. Below that, I think it might be a good short, down to roughly $8 support level. We have FCCY at 17.2. If it breaks down below that, it looks like it would hit 16 and then 14 as support levels. We do have GameStop. It did have a big gap down, and when it tends to gap down, it tends to gap down for a couple days if you look to the left of the chart. So it looks like if that one continues down, it's going to go down to roughly 20 as a support level before you might see a bounce or even further. And another one was GNRC that had a downgrade, and it dropped down to 37.94. If it continues down, it looks like it could go to 36 and then down to 34. So as I always say, guys, carpe profit, seize those profits one at a time and just continue learning, continue studying, and continue every day because it will get better.